All right, helping us unpack this further is Professor David Monyae, Associate Professor of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Johannesburg. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. So many moving parts here. Let's start with the latest. So Israel has vowed that Tehran will pay following its attack on that hospital in central Israel. What are we likely to see in the coming hours as the levels of these air attacks between the two countries continue to escalate? I mean, we are hearing now that there are fresh reports that Israel's defense minister, Minister Katz, says eliminating Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is one of the country's war goals.
The situation is getting worse by the day. I think the greatest fear we have, it's far beyond the bombing of the hospital. I think what is more scary is possibility of attack on nuclear facilities either in Israel or in Iran, and having nuclear radiation that we are scared of that might spread in the region, and chances of getting more countries getting involved at a later stage is also possible, as more and more of the counterattacks continue. But overall, this war has been a game changer in terms of the types of military weaponry used. I think for the very first time, Israel is now facing exactly what it has been doing in Gaza, what it has been doing in Lebanon, in Syria, and it's now getting more or less similar with all defensive mechanism that it has, that Iran is a formidable force and it will take time to really dislodge Iranian forces.
I mean, there are also, continuous calls for a political and a diplomatic solution here to Iran's nuclear issue. Today, in fact, we heard of that call between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping on this very matter. Given the tension, is there any possibility for any kind of de-escalation between the two countries, given too, of course, the uncertainty of America's involvement at this stage? I mean, President Trump is still weighing his options, we're hearing.
President Trump holds the key on so many issues. He is quite aware that he has only one term, and therefore I think getting into this war, it will divide his political base at home. The MAGA project is divided, those who are pro-Israel and those who are anti-US entering the war. And the mere fact that is interpreted by people before me, it will be having a huge impact, a negative impact on the economy, a key issue for President Trump. And therefore, I doubt very much if he will rush into this war. And the lessons of previous wars, that it won't be a short-lived war. If the United States attacks Iran, Iran has the ability to take pain for a longer period. For those who can remember 1980 to 1988, Iran-Iraq war. There were so many people that died in Iran. Still, they waged the war to the end. So Iranians are ready, whether they kill their leadership or not. I think they're ready to wage this war, affecting the entire region, oil prices, and markets, as we can see with the bombing of the Israeli stock exchange.
Yeah, and just talking about, Iran and its capability and also perhaps its allies. So as the pressure mounts on this conflict, and more especially on Iran, I mean, does it have allies that could come to its aid should the U.S. join Israel in this war? I know you've, of course, mentioned just the complexities around the U.S. not also making its decision known at this stage.
If one looks at the kind of weapons that Iran is starting to use, one can easily say that some of these weapons are not made in Iran. Chances are very high that the Russians or either Chinese are helping, and these are strong allies. And we also have North Korea ready to enter the fray at some point. So it really depends whether the United States enters the fray or not. Without the U.S. in the direct military in the theater, I doubt very much if Russia or China will openly enter the theater.
I want to take a step back, Prof, and just talk about, some contentious issue, questions about, the actual proof of evidence that Iran has constructed a nuclear weapon. Those are intensifying with people trying to dispel that particular notion around that. I mean, even as the International Atomic Energy Agency has reportedly confirmed, in fact, the IAEA had found no evidence to this. I mean, what can we make of this and the criticism that these claims have in fact been made by Netanyahu repeatedly since, at the very least, the mid-1990s?
Yeah, Prime Minister Netanyahu has been a man of wars. He has been behind warmongering since 1980s, and he has been winning, whether war in Iraq, Afghanistan, in Syria, and so many other places, and waging and bringing in the United States in some of the worst atrocities committed in the world. And therefore, one doubts if he's going to win on this one. What we're going to see is that we're going back to the drawing boards, finding diplomatic ways of resolving this as the best solution. The usage of nuclear, we just don't know if Iran has nuclear or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do, and therefore they have nothing to lose if they go for a surgical attack as they do on top leadership. They have nothing else or nothing to lose other than release whatever that they have, and therefore we are in danger of a nuclear war at this moment than any other time in history.
And just from a South African perspective, is there anything that South Africa can at this stage do in as far as those calls for cessation between the two countries?
South Africa is always going for peace and peaceful resolution to conflicts. And we're not surprised with the kind of message that is coming from Pretoria. I think with days to come, we'll hear more increased message from Pretoria calling for peace, encouraging countries all over the world. And let us not forget that South Africa has good relationship with both countries at war. And Iran is a member of BRICS, so is South Africa. And therefore, I think there are ways in which South Africa could play a critical role in terms of bringing peace in that region, as we do on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.